What's going on, nerds? Welcome back to Comic Book Nerd Nation, episode number 68. I'm here with Topher this week.
I'm probably going to have to pee before the end of this episode.
That's all right. I'm Fox 2.
Watch me squirm.
I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Fox 2. He's Topher. And we are joined by a very special guest today. Someone that actually reached out to us that wanted to be a part of the show, and we love it. We love having guests on, fellow nerds of all across the country. Anybody. Fuck it. I don't care if you're not from the country.
Say, what about Canada?
Yeah, there you go. Without further ado, Adam Lash, comedian.
Hi, everybody.
So tell us briefly, or not so briefly, however you want to do it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your stand-up comedy. That's your thing, right?
Cool. Yeah. So I'm a stand-up comic. I live in New York City. Giantly huge nerd. I've been doing stand-up for 10 years and have expanded from just doing not only doing stand-up, but I do sketches. I've got a couple web series. I got a blog. I got a podcast. I do warm-up for an off-Broadway play. I'm trying to slowly conquer the world through all the different projects. I figure if I can just keep busy, eventually something's going to work, and then I will become famous, maybe, and be in a Marvel movie. Maybe.
So what? For those of us that
what character would you play in a Marvel movie?
I don't know. Maybe I could. Nova might be. I could probably pull off a Nova.
Right.
Who else? I don't want to be an anonymous Shield agent. That's not fun.
Like the red shirt.
I could be Scott Summers. I could be younger Scott if they want to.
You could do a young. You could do. I can see you as a younger Scott Summers.
Yeah, I'm not as big of a tool as Scott is. I'd have to.
You'd have to act. That's part of it.
But to be honest, though, I think Scott's right. So I already have that going for me.
There you go. See, now, Topher is our resident Marvel expert for sure. He reads a absolute boatload of Marvel comic books. So you piqued his interest right when you said an actor in a Marvel movie.
Well, I think it's a big Marvel film, a DC film. I mean, I'm a DC fanboy myself, but I mean...
That's me. I'm on the DC side of things.
I just don't... I mean, I'd love to be... I could probably be Kyle Rayner. I think that's about it, though. I don't know.
How about a Nightwing? Oh.
I like you a lot.
There you go. There it is.
I mean,
no, I was looking for my Cyclops was right artwork.
Oh yeah.
Were you? Yeah. See, I've gotten some major pushback from saying that from some people, and I'm like, but are you reading the same books I am? How did you? He's not wrong. Come on. I don't know.
So for those of us that are not in the industry, can you explain really quickly, like, what you said you're a warm-up for a musical? Is that?
Yes.
What's a warm-up?
Okay, so have you guys ever been to a taping of any type of TV show before?
I have not.
Okay.
No, actually.
So before the show actually starts, be it if this is like a sitcom or specifically like the Daily Show or any of the talk shows, any talk shows like Kelly and Michael, The View, or if it's the nightly show, daily show, late night Jimmy Kimmel, doesn't matter. They usually have a comic come out and warm up the crowd so everyone's ready to clap and cheer and hoot and holler and laugh when they're supposed to. That's what I do for an off-Broadway musical, which is really, it's never done. It's breaking the mold. People don't come up to warm up a musical audience.
Hey,
but
it's practice, though, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
You can easily transfer over to...
And the other thing is, before somebody flew to the moon, nobody had ever flown to the moon before.
Good point.
Hey, I'm just saying.
It's a good point.
I'm just saying.
There are times when I walk out between the curtains, I was like, hey, everybody, let's cheer! And everyone's like, wait, what's happening? I thought I was here for a...
Are we in the right theater? Is this?
Yeah, but
do I have the right
if you can win over a crowd, I mean, in all honesty, if you can win over a crowd that doesn't know that they're there to see a comic,
True.
then you're doing something right. Because I feel like people that, if you're going, you leave your house and you're going to a comedy club, you're going to see a comic, you're in the mood for comedy. But if you can make somebody laugh that's not looking for comedy, then you're doing something right.
Thanks. I mean, we do kind of treat the show as a taping of Saved by the Bell.
Okay, so all right, talk about this for a second. I'm going to fix the wicked fucking glare that I have over my left shoulder right now because it is just atrocious to me. So tell us about Bay by the Bell. That's what it's called, right?
Saved by the Bell, yeah. It's called Bayside the Musical.
Bayside the Musical, I'm sorry.
It's a parody of Saved by the Bell. So basically, if you are probably in your 30s, you were a teenager or a preteen right at the beginning of the 90s when Saved by the Bell was the thing. And now a couple friends of mine have been working on this musical for 10 years of writing, rewriting different versions of it, different casts, and eventually got to the point where they finally found the right formula for it. And we've been going now for 18 months, which is kind of unheard of for
a pretty decent run.
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, we were only supposed to go for 3 months.
Oh wow!
Got a huge response. So we just kept extending, and then it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then National Lampoons came on to be like, okay, can we produce you guys? And I'm like, sure. So now it's National Lampoons presents Bayside the Musical.
No, you have money. We don't want you to produce us.
Well, yeah, they have money that we've seen. We have not seen a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we could use more. Let me tell you that much. We had Dustin Diamond actually come in to be a part of the cast.
Was this before or after he stabbed someone?
I will tell. Okay. Here we go. This is going to be a great story. Okay. So, this is last spring. The show's getting kind of popular here in the city. We're kind of, we're doing well with ticket sales, which is great. So we started reaching out to people who used to be on the show. Like, hey, Mario Lopez, Tiffany Thiessen, anybody, do you want to come and just hang out? You don't have to be on the show. Just, hey, we're doing this thing. It's really popular. We all love you. Come by the show. Well, the only person we got was Mr. Belding. He's not doing anything. And so he came down, and we're like, oh, my God, this is amazing. It's Mr. Belding. And he ate Screech. It's weird. Got big. Really, really big. I mean, did you guys see the Fallon thing?
Yes, I saw the Fallon thing.
You know what I'm talking about. It's like everyone else looks like basically
almost exactly the same with makeup.
Yeah, just like, holy crap, you guys didn't age at all. Or some people like, nice, you look even better. And then Belding waddles out. You're like, oh, shit. Okay, just get off the camera. Get there. Yeesh. Anyways, so he shows up, and we're all, like, really excited for, like, 2 hours before he starts creeping on our women. And then that got real awkward real fast. So that was unfortunate. So then everyone's really bummed because somebody we admired or like, oh my God, let us down. So then a couple weeks later, Dustin Diamond shows up. And we're like, we just had a horrible experience with Belding. And then he was like, super cool. Like, well, this is nice. Everyone says he sucks, but he was really nice to us for a weekend. Cool. So the show keeps going on, and then Lampoons comes on, and they're like, hey, how about Dustin joins the cast? Kind of draw on ticket sales. We'll do some more shows or whatever. It'd be like a big commercial draw. So the people running the show were like, that sounds like a great idea. Okay. So Dustin Diamond rolls in, and this is September of last year. And for 2 weeks, everything was fine. And then it all went off the rails quickly. Like, I don't know, because I didn't see...
I feel like TMZ right now. I'm not going to lie.
But like
true Hollywood stories.
There were there was a lot of visits to the hospital. There was a lot of medication that wasn't prescribed or taken. I think I saw the knife that went into somebody a month later.
Wow.
So it went off the rails. So we're like, okay, bye, Dustin. You're supposed to be on for like 10 weeks, something like that. He lasted 4, if even that. Like we're like, oh god, okay, just get the fuck out. And then a month later, we hear he stabbed a guy, and we all got this news, and we all looked at each other like, yeah, no,
that
makes sense.
I could see that.
I was like, wait, did anyone see the knife? And half the cast raised their hand, like, yeah, no, I know exactly what knife you're talking about. I've seen it. Yeah, okay. None of us were shocked. So he's been gone, and the show keeps going, and we're still having lots of fun. It's still a really good time. So yeah.
That's
if it ever ends, are you gonna do Bayside the musical, the college years?
Well, there's a lot of reference jokes, and the show's changed in the past 18 months of coming up with newer gags or different improv or forgetting about one aspect of Saved by the Bell, then remembering. And it's like, oh god, we should totally have that in the show, and then kind of rewriting it so now it's in the show. So yeah, almost every aspect of Saved by the Bell is mentioned in the show. And the show's only like 2 hours, so there's a lot of reference jokes in there.
That's awesome. Yeah. That is.
Do you do a Zach Morris timeout at all?
Of course we do. How could part of the Bell Show?
That's like the number one thing you have to do. That and the cell phone.
I still think that's like the best superpower is the Zach Morris time stop.
It is.
You know what?
That would be mine.
Do either of you watch House of Cards?
Yep. Now hold on. I'm not done with season 3 yet.
I'm still on season 1, but
okay.
Frank Underwood basically does the Zach Morris timeout.
Yes.
Am I right? I mean,
I sometimes wish he could time out. Personally, I'd love if he talked more to us, but I think it's the right amount.
Yeah.
Still, I want him to talk to me more.
The shit that he says, like if you were to write down all the shit that he says directly to the audience, not the other characters, is really actually insightful and pretty like motivational in most instances.
It is. It's kind of dark a little bit.
Well, yeah.
Very menacing.
Minus the part about like crushing someone's soul and that kind of stuff,
Yes.
So you told me that you have a podcast as well.
Yes.
Let's talk about the podcast.
Podcast with my.
You still there?
Ooh. Yes, I'm still here.
You're still here.
You cut out for a minute.
We must have some lag going on.
Yeah, you got really mechanical, and then.
Oh, that's okay. Your podcast. Tell us about it.
So my friend Kevin Martini, who is a warm-up comic at the Nightly Show, and
now we know what that is.
Yes. So we started this podcast. We tried it like a couple years ago. It's called the Movie Preview Review. And in the initial version, Kevin and I would watch a preview of a movie and then just take a day and then like write 5 pages of jokes, and then Kevin would collate them to like a 10-page like a 10-minute like monologue or just joke about a preview. So we tried that. We did it for a couple months. It was kind of fun, and then just time got in the way, and then we didn't do it for a while, and then eventually we got back to it because we had projects. Because Kevin and I were the guys. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Kevin and I were the guys behind getting George Carlin's street that he grew up on named after him here in the city.
Nice.
Yeah, it's 121st Street between Amsterdam and Broadway, I believe. So the street across the street, so 121st between Amsterdam and that other street is named after him because the church, Corpus Christi, is on the street that he actually grew up on, and they made a big stink about it and like, rawr. So we're like, all right, compromise across the street. They're like, fine, whatever. Yeah, we just did that last October, which is really cool.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. It took like 3 years of...
Yeah, I'm sure anything to do with the government takes quite a while.
Yep. A lot of local government, a lot of city government, blah, blah, blah. But so that kind of got in the way. But actually, eventually we finished it. We succeeded. The street signs up. And so we actually had more time. So we decided to do the podcast again, but in a different format, where instead of just writing jokes down and Kevin monologuing them, is more of a conversation. Kind of, the way podcasts in general seem to work better. Just people hanging out, having fun conversations.
Right.
So it's me, Kevin, our friend Jay Smith, and Kevin's wife Jess, who's not a comic. She's just a normal girl.
For the ride.
Just along for the ride, keeping us guys in line, giving us a girl's perspective. We have a comic guest come on, and so we just kind of improv off the review, the previews, and review the show or the movie just based off of us watching the review. So it's just also fun improv back and forth, bunch of comics.
Okay, I'm going to jump in right here, and I'm going to put your chops to the test then, because what you guys don't know that are watching this podcast right now or listening to it, if it's audio only version, which we are working on. Those of you that have asked for it, we're working on getting back to that. I know we're several months behind, but we'll get there. Give us time. Right before we started recording, we actually informed Adam that the newest Marvel trailer for Avengers Age of Ultron was just released today as we're recording this. I know as we release it, that's a few weeks back. Whatever, deal with it. You'll be fine. The fact is, he just watched it. He has had literally no preparation time for this whatsoever. And myself and Topher are completely and totally not comedians whatsoever. We're just full of hot air. But we love to hear ourselves talk. And I'm ready, set, go.
It was fucking amazing. It was, because I don't like watching too many previews of movies I know I'm going to love. Just because I don't want to know a whole lot going into it. But sweet Christ, that thing was amazing. Because it was such a good job of setting up more of the story. Because we knew the story. It's not, we're nerds. We get it. Ultron, he's bad. He wants to take over the world. Not hard for us. But the first couple trailers were kind of like, okay, there's a robot, but that's about it. If you weren't, an Avengers fan, you wouldn't really know the backstory. But this thing, it's like, oh, no, Tony tried to make a robot, an AI to help the planet, totally backfires. There's Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and they're like, we like the robot, and then we're going to fight. And everyone's getting their ass kicked. It was fucking amazing.
What's your favorite 3 parts? If you had to pick 3 parts.
Favorite 3 parts, but
yeah,
2
because
minutes.
I'm doing this in my. Well, I'll go first. I'll lead this off. Go first. My favorite 3 parts. First of all, I have to go with the Hulk fight scene that's in there. The little glimpse of Hulk fighting, just because I love the Hulk. Adam, you don't know that about me yet, but I collect the Hulk comics. I have a Hulk statue. I have multiple Hulk statues. I am a huge fan of.
Hulk underoos.
Hulk
sheet.
Everything. No.
Ripped at the
He stands in front of a mirror.
Ripped at the seams and everything. Hulk is. While I understand, I get that the story is not always the best because there's just not that much going on there a lot of times. I just am fascinated with the character of Hulk. So I've always been drawn to him since I was a little kid. So I for whatever reason, it still just sticks with me. It's one of those things that reminds me of that little piece of my childhood that you're always kind of grasping at and wanting to get back. So that was one of the top 3. Another one, James Spader's voice as Ultron. You really get to hear a lot of it in this trailer, and it is fucking amazing. It's just the right amount of creepy, just the right amount of serious, and just I couldn't put a better. It's spot on. It is right where it needs to be. And then the third thing was the feel of how they're definitely leading into Civil War, with the contention that they built just within the trailer between Captain America and Iron Man. And I know Adam, you've only watched it once, but if you watch it again, you'll get to see, you'll definitely be able to notice the contention that even just in the 2-minute trailer is between Tony Stark and Captain America and they're kind of breeding that plot line, and I think we're going to get to see a lot of that throughout the movie, and that's my 3. Oh man, I can't wait. So Topher, what about you? I know you're itching to talk. You're the Marvel fanboy of the podcast. Hit it off.
I'm gonna let our guest go next before we take everything you might have wanted to say.
All right.
Okay, so yes, James Spader's voice and hearing him not recite the Pinocchio rhyme.
No strings on me.
Because that was creepy the first time. It was like, characterization, please. What's the? I mean, I don't want to. I really liked, because I'm a big fan of some good cinematography, and Joss does an amazing job when it comes to planning the shots out and stuff. So, I mean, because I saw the first Avengers, I think it was 3 times the opening weekend, and every time I saw it, the hero shot of when it's when they finally have all 6 of them in a circle, and the camera spins around them, the audience every time was like, well, they lost their shit. They're like, they're just nuts. They just couldn't handle it. So I was like, because it's a great shot. Everyone's fucking gearing up and ready to go, and it's cool. It's cool. But they gave a little glimpse of a similar shot, not so much retread, but like a similar shot in the trailer where it looks like they're in the ruins of where Ultron was kind of having a base or something like that. And the shot was from overhead, and you see all 6 of them in the circle, but at a different pie wedge that just happened.
Oh, yeah, and they're kind of fucking shooting outwards.
And all the guys are coming, they're all like, just fighting everybody and doing their own thing. I was like, well, that's going to be awesome. That is just going to be the giant battle of 1,000 Ultron bots versus it's so good. And actually, I liked seeing more of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Ooh, good choice.
Because seeing Quicksilver kind of utilizes
punch Captain America in the face.
And then what Scarlet Witch was kind of like doing a little worm tongue action to somebody. It seemed like, where she's kind of whispering like didn't she have little?
Yeah, little tendrils, little pink wispy things. Yeah.
Man.
So it was nice seeing, what at least a little taste of what their component will be in the movie.
Oh man! All right, Topher, let us have it.
So I guess number 3 would be I like the characterization. I like the fact that I love Captain America. I've never really read a whole bunch of his comics, but I just love the concept of the character.
Yep.
And and I like that they're really sticking to that good guy Captain America thing, and just the few little clips of him saying something like it's time we started helping these people. Just Captain America being Captain America always puts a smile on my face. Number 2 would have to be the Vision reveal at the end.
That was
the close-up
close
of the face.
number 4.
I've been waiting for more shots of Paul Bettany as Vision. I love him as an actor, and I think it's gonna be interesting how that character works in. I'm kind of curious to see how they do it, and I hope it's not like a last second. He's in the last 5 minutes and that's it. I hope there's more of him than that. The way they keep teasing it, I really hope that it ends up being a little bigger part of that. And then my number 1 it has to be James Spader's delivery of that one line. He's talking about how humans look to the sky and find hope, and then it just turns. He's like, "I'll take that from them first," and he delivers it like it sent a chill up my spine. He just said it just the way he said it so coldly, and oh my god, it was like, oh god, I want to watch that again. After I changed my pants.
In my opinion,
it was oh god.
In my opinion, the 2 things, if I had to pick 2 things that are going to make this movie great, 3 things. I can't. It's that good. I mean, it looks like it's going to be that good, but it's got to be, the 3 things for me has got to be
the 3 main weapons of the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, right. James Spader's Ultron is going to make this movie. Like you said, Captain America being Captain America, I think is going to be a huge, huge part of this leading into Civil War. and then what Adam said, to just kind of piggyback off of you guys, Joss Whedon's cinematography skills are going to make it. The part in when you said that, instantly the thought in my mind went directly to the piece where Thor was challenging Ultron and saying, "Is that all you've got?" And then all of these, Ultron bots just swarming, and you get this expansive view of it, kind of from from an above angle, and it just gives you this. But the way that he has them like rising over the ridge and like almost like flowing like a river of robots to give you some depth in the shot is just, I mean, it really, it kind of takes your breath away. It kind of gives you that oh my gosh feeling, which a lot of cinematographers don't do. A lot of films lack that in the ability to really send the chills down your spine, like Topher said with the James Spader and stuff like that. But man, I think this is going to be an incredible movie.
I think there are going to be a few challenges too, though. Like, it still seems like it's bring the heroes together, make them fight get them to fight each other and squabble, and then bring them together again for the big fight at the end with swarming hordes of bad guys. Which is almost a little bit, I mean, you can almost apply that. You can say, well, I'm just saying, like, it's almost formulaic when you compare it to the first movie. Like it kind of followed a similar pattern. So I hope it's different enough, that it doesn't just look like more of the same kind of thing. But at the same time, like the Chitauri in the first one were kind of like, new, what, meh, But seeing a bunch of Ultron clones, I mean,
awesome.
It's way cooler than seeing a bunch of Chitauri.
Agreed.
Well, this movie's going to be almost 3 hours long. I don't know if you guys...
It'd be 6 hours long, and I would still sit in there.
No shit.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how long the movie is. Marvel could go, oh yeah, it's 3.5 hours. Like, okay, and? Like,
yeah. Fuck it. All right, I'll see it twice.
Maybe we'll break it about 2 hours, but then, yeah, well, fine, we'll go. It doesn't matter. So there is time, it seems like, for everything.
Yeah.
Because you're right, because it does seem a little formulaic. The team's got to get back together. They got to have that internal strife. If it's just normal characterization strife, or if it's fostered by Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch's influences, then they got to break apart a little bit, more fighty fight. Realize we got to put those differences aside, come together, fighty fight, get their asses kicked. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's got to change sides, and Vision's got to roll in. I feel like
he's going to be towards the end. I think
he's going to be a little Deus Machina, because how else he kind of has to be. Because if Tony's like, I made a mistake, I tried to make AI to save the planet, I fucked up, and now it's going to destroy all of us. He could have that one little project running in the background the whole movie as the backup to whatever.
I think that's kind of what it's going to be.
And then he's like, Vision comes online, realizes, oh shit, I got to get over there, and just pew pew, just phasing through bitches, and it's like it's going to be.
Especially in the comics, like it being Hank Pym that invented Ultron, not Tony Stark, but like it's an ongoing theme about how he's like, ashamed of his one big mistake, and like it haunts him for years. Mm-hmm. But I don't see them following up on that as long term in the cinematic universe. I don't think so. And so I think you're right, and that Vision's probably going to come along later, and not only is he going to be like the savior, but it's also in a way it's Tony Stark's redemption.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to play into the Civil War end of it. I think Vision will probably play a bigger role in the next film, the Civil War stuff. I think he's going to end up being, because he's created by Tony Stark, I think he's going to end up being one of the enforcers of Tony Stark's side, Iron Man's side of the Civil War dispute, which I think, again, would be a really interesting, struggle, having, Tony Stark and Vision on one side, Captain America, and obviously this is all way out there, but whoever else they put on his side, because they're clearly reimagining. I mean, you got to think the Civil War comic book run. I just read it not too long ago. What was it? It was 119 comic books with all the tie-ins. 120 comic books.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no way they're going to fit that much source material into one movie. So they're going to kind of, they're going to do what they feel is necessary to trim it down and make it right for the silver screen. But I think that that's the direction, that's the feeling that I get, is that they're going to push Vision end of this movie and bigger role in the next one.
When is Civil War coming out? Because I have completely forgotten what the Phase 3 timeline is.
Let me see
I think it's next May, I want to say.
Cinematic schedule. We'll look this up right now. That's the beauty
Let's
of
all
having
Google it simultaneously.
dual monitors is fantastic. I'm not going to lie.
Synchronous Googling.
Yes, Age of Ultron, Infinity War Civil War is 2016.
Oh,
it's Captain America Civil War.
It's not an Avengers movie. It's the Captain America 3.
So wait, so it's like next summer?
Next spring. I was thinking like
January,
next May. I thought it was.
Or no, set to be released on May 6th, 2016. So just a little over a year.
Well, they better get filming.
Yeah, and then we have Doctor Strange 2016, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 2017, Thor Ragnarok 2017, and then 2018 you start the Infinity War, which is gonna be awesome.
Wait, when's the Inhuman movie?
Inhumans is 2019.
So that's after the Infinity War?
That's after both parts of the Infinity War, yeah.
Oh, wow. Seeing as how wait, you guys caught up on S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I don't watch S.H.I.E.L.D., but go ahead. By all
they
means,
just started they just had the first episode back from the Agent Carter break.
Right. So, I mean, they mentioned Inhumans. Granted, it was not like, you're an Inhuman. It was kind of like, we're saying Inhumans, everybody. See what we're saying? We're smart.
Yeah, I mean, they've been subtly dropping hints since last September when this season started. But so yeah, I mean, it's clearly going that way. I guess they gotta build them up and have them around before they get their own movie, though. It does seem odd that they're like all of a sudden the TV show's like hard on the Inhuman thing, and like their movie's coming out soon, 4 years from now.
4 years. Unless that's how, I heard someone saying that that's how they're going to get around Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch not being mutants. They're going to be Inhumans.
That's what I've heard as well.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, your hands are tied. What are you going to do?
Okay, so let's branch away for a moment, only momentarily. Let's branch away from comic book stuff. Let's talk about your web series, Gigahose.
Okay. So yeah, I have a web series. It's about sex robots in the very near future. It is called Gigahose.
I love how look at the just take a second and look at the shit-eating grin on Adam's face when he talks about this.
He's so excited.
You can just see, and you know what, that's awesome to me, because as a creator, I think that shows that you're really excited about what you're doing.
Plus, when he said "not too distant future," there was like a note of hope in his voice. Like, I hope it's not too far off. I want this now.
I mean,
who would?
I do too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, let us be honest. In our lifetimes, the three of us will have sex with a robot. Not the same robot at the same time, like different robots.
I like how he takes a moment to clarify that. Like, not the same one.
I heard it as I said it. Like, wait a second.
Hold on a minute.
I mean, like, don't rule it out. Don't rule it out.
What's really happening in his mind is, I've only known these guys for 30 minutes now, and I can totally tell that their minds are going to go to the most perverted place possible. So let's clarify.
I mean, it could happen. It could happen before the Inhumans movie comes out.
It could. Ooh.
The race is on, science.
All right, so
You think that's Inhuman? Watch what I'm about to do to this robot.
oh, bazinga!
So yeah, a couple years ago, I had this idea for just had I had a joke about sex robots being the ones leading the robot revolution, and it was a pretty funny joke. And then I wrote a sketch about it. The sketch wasn't too good, or at least I thought it was okay. But some friends like, it's not your best. But then mentioned, what would be funny is if we just followed along the life of a sex robot. And I was like, yeah, oh shit, that's an amazing idea. So then I wrote down a bunch of stuff, and then I got introduced to my friend, now roommate and co-creator, Kevin Gilligan, who unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight. And I was like, so here's the idea. It's sex robots, it's like 20 years in the future, and it's a comedy, so we don't have to do all the drama stuff. And he's like, that's an amazing idea. And then we started throwing up on each other of just all the ideas, because we just instantly, just all the stuff. And over, a weekend, we kind of came up with the kind of...
It was like two dudes, one idea.
No.
Oh, gotcha.
I have unfortunately have seen that.
I did not, and I'm so glad for it.
It's good. Yeah.
It's good.
Every time anyone says that, your brain's like, you forgot it. No, you didn't. It's not. Oh. Anyways,
So,
back to sexy.
Yeah. Back to sex robots.
So we figured, we're both giant nerds. Yeah, I feel it's a safe assumption that most of us who grew up, in the 80s, 90s, who are nerds, have a thing for robots. We just do. And a lot of us want to have sex with robots. And it's a thing that's going to happen because how can it not? Humanity loves to create stuff and then put their penis inside it. So,
I mean, the two biggest driving forces in technology are military research and the porn industry.
Yep, exactly. The porn industry is the reason why we have VHS and Blu-ray and video on the internet and YouTube being able to scroll through and seeing the video window on the timeline. That's all porn. And they continue to keep virtual reality. Did you guys see there's a video BuzzFeed or one of those little things did a video with a Oculus Rift or whatever with a VR porn simulator with some seniors.
You know what I saw on fucking Facebook today as I was just I don't even spend that much time on Facebook, but I scrolled through and somebody had posted this shit, and it's apparently this could be a hoax. I don't know, but it's a vibrator with a motherfucking camera in the end of it, so you can take vagina selfies.
Real. I just heard him talking about
real.
it on the radio.
Topher's like, real. Saw it. Already got one. Got it on order.
Using one right now.
I mean, it would make more sense if there was a camera in the back of a fleshlight, because guys would be like, yeah, check it out. Look at this. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom,
right.
Boom.
But I mean, realistically, when you think of it from that angle, about that kind of stuff that's coming out, it's probably not that far. It's probably not this concept.
No,
of yours
really isn't.
is really not that. I mean, it's significantly less far fetched than Star Wars or Star Trek. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you read tech news coming out of Japan. They've already got robots with realistic facial expressions and responding to commands, and
they have
crazy.
Robots for sure. Yeah, that's not.
You just gotta make sure the internal bits don't chew you up yet.
Yeah, that would be a son of a bitch. Stick your dick inside, and it's like a fucking meat grinder in there.
Yes, robotic vagina. Robotic vagina dentata. There we go. But yeah, so when Kevin and I were coming up with all this stuff, one of the things we did a lot of research, watching all these different movies and shows that were about AI and robots and stuff like AI.
iRobot.
Thank you, iRobot, and there was Almost Human was out. It existed while we were kind of writing in pre-production, and just in so many other different little touches here and there of it. But every time sex robots came up, because it's a topic that's been covered in sci-fi before, it's always dramatic. It's always, oh, isn't it horrible how people are using robots for sex? It's just the worst. And we're like, no, it's going to be hilarious, because we're going to do things to robots that we would never do with other humans, because we're embarrassed, we're freaked out, we wouldn't ask another human being, like, can we do these things to you? They'd say no. A robot will say yes. Thank you. I'm glad I could be of service for you. Like, it's gonna be highly comedic of what we do to these robots. So that was the angle we went with, because no one's touching it. No one's touching the funny side of things.
I think it's funny. I watched after you reached out to us and expressed your interest in being a guest in the show. Obviously, like I want to try and be like do my due diligence and like at least have some kind of something to talk about. Like I don't want to be a total asshole and be like, so who are you? I don't even know you. So I went out and saw the show, and I watched like I first 3 or 4 episodes. I think I watched. There's some pretty funny stuff in here. Like you describe it to a T. You're not like, you know those movies where you watch the fucking trailer and it's like all the funny shit's in the trailer. Mm-hmm. And then you watch the movie and you're like, this fucking blows. Like I basically saw the movie when I saw the trailer, because all the funny shit was in the trailer. This is not. It's not that. That's not the case. You're describing it exactly how it is. It's just a long ass string of like these awkward as fuck situations between someone that basically a robot that basically can't say no, and somebody that has some kind of crazy desire that is just, part of their personality. And there's some funny stuff. If you haven't seen it yet, where can they go to find it?
It's on YouTube. Just type in Gigahose, Gigahoes. It'll pop right up. We have 12 episodes. We just finished the first season. It gets progressively weirder as you keep going, because we try to start out light and fluffy and easy. If you understand my meaning after seeing the first episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, as the show is one of the strengths that Kevin and I think have written into it is that at its surface level, it's like exactly as you described. Robots going out meeting with clients in these awkward, weird situations. It's and we kind of play up the humor of the different fetishes, and the robots interacting with them. But as we go along, we get into the robots' lives, their quote unquote feelings of dealing with things, dealing with the world that they're dealing with. Coming up short when it comes to the business aspect of things. Where Kevin and I are writing season 2 right now, as season 1 ends on a tiny cliffhanger but we're getting more into the robots as characters, and we'll still go out on all these crazy ass calls and see weird fetishes and weird sexual adventures, but the show is designed to become more and more a character-driven show off of these robot heroes we have who just happen to have sex for money.
I think it's really funny if you're into the kind of comedy that we at the Comic Book Nerd Nation on the adult end of things give to you week in and week out. If you enjoy that kind of humor, this is something you're going to probably enjoy. You should definitely check it out. Disclaimer: it is adult oriented. Whatever. Blah blah blah. If you're watching this podcast, then you're probably an adult.
If you haven't figured that out by now,
yeah. I mean, realistically, we're clearly not talking to children on this fucking podcast. So,
no.
Go watch the goddamn show is what I'm trying to tell you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Please go watch the goddamn show. We worked really hard on it. I would really appreciate you guys watched
it. and that's another thing that I'd like to note about the fact that, you're talking about a YouTube webisode season. It's an internet show. It's a television show on the internet, and you can tell that they have put in some serious effort into the production of this show. While it is not polished to the level of like network television, because they don't have that kind of funding, that's not reasonable to expect out of someone. I mean, be real. Like, the motherfuckers that are putting together network television shows are making millions of goddamn dollars a year. They're putting together something that's as funny as some of the shit that's on network television for free, I'm assuming, or very close to free. But they've got some special effects. I've done some After Effects, some video editing, some of that kind of stuff, and I've noticed some of the subtle stuff that you guys put in that I thought added to some of the computer displays, some of the holographic imagery, some of that stuff that, you know, that's all stuff that's shit that takes time. Any of you that have never done that stuff is not, it's kind of labor intensive. I'm not going to lie. It takes a little bit of know-how. It's not the most simple of things to do. So the fact that you guys are putting that extra little bit on there at the end, I think that shows that you really care about the project. And I think it shows in the end product. So go check it out. YouTube.com, Gigahose. Check it out. It's some funny shit.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
It takes some skill to take a topic like that, you know, and like, you know, not just devolve straight into a series of horrible jokes, you know, that go on forever, but to actually like have some character moments and, you know, be able to take it, you know, see the seriousness in it at times. I think takes a little bit of refinement and a sense of humor that you wouldn't necessarily expect in a topic like that.
You watched some of it as well, didn't you, Tover?
I did.
That's what
it was amusing. I'm probably gonna watch the rest of it now.
Thanks. Yeah. Just to speak to a couple of your points. Yeah, we raised $5,000 on Kickstarter. And we stretched that as far as we possibly could go.
Which those of you, just to interrupt for a second, those of you that are not familiar with anything to do with making multimedia, $5,000 is about like, hey, I want to have a steak dinner and raising $4. Like, it's not really gonna. It's gonna get you the JTM end of a fucking filet mignon. It's not gonna get you the actual filet mignon. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they were able to come up with what they came up with for $5,000 is goddamn impressive, because I'm just telling you, like, from the shit that I've purchased to do the podcast and the shitty YouTube videos that I come up with, I've got damn near $5,000 in my equipment. And so for them to do what they're doing, I don't even have I'd have to go out and invest another $5,000. So that's my 2 cents.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we got lucky with some people working for cheap and some people donating some of their equipment to us for free. But I mean, I still had to pay out of pocket for a decent amount of it. I mean, we spent more than what we had for Kickstarter. All the editing goes to our guy Mike, like, who I just cannot pronounce his last name because it's Italian and it's really long. But Mike did an amazing job with all the editing and the After Effects. He did all the After Effects, and it was like, we knew we didn't have the budget for really awesome, cool sci-fi stuff, or like, you know, having Data's head flip open like they had on Next Gen, so you could see the positronic net going. We didn't have those skills, so we knew we had, you know, to use, you know, little touches here and there. So we're like, screens, right? We'll put screens where we can and put graphics on them, just because we knew we could only have little touches. So I'm really glad they worked out and just kind of, you know, helped sell.
Oh, it definitely adds to it for sure.
But yeah, no, we passionately believe in this show, and I mean, honestly, our goal is to put this on a network. We want to be on HBO or FX or something like that. We think that this show, this idea is unique because no one else is touching it, and robots are so hot right now. And just that it's good. I know I'm tooting my own horn here, but it's like,
fuck it. That's what this is all about, man.
It's a good angle on the topic, and you know, yeah, I get naked, and you know, everything gets fuzzed out. But you know, there's nudity in the show. We show sexy time, you know, comedic sexy time, just because, you know, that's what's going to happen. And we had an amazing cast, which helped really sell the show, and they really loved their characters, and we played to everybody's strengths. So, yeah, we're going to keep going with it for season 2. The story, keeps getting bigger and bigger. But
we're also
going
to Kickstarter for season 2.
Yeah, we're going to do a Kickstarter for season 2, probably in a couple months. Kevin and I, while we're working on, we've already broken down the second season, so we know where everything's going. But we're going to enter some festivals for like the Just for Laughs Festival and the New York Television Pilot Festival. So we need to devote a little bit of time to crafting the perfect entries for that, because we want to be on network television, because we know the show is good enough to be on an FX or an HBO, because it's a good story.
Well, once you get your Kickstarter set up and everything, hit me back up, and we'll have you back on. You can pitch your Kickstarter. We'll make sure. Not that we have an expansive reach or anything here. I mean, we're just a couple of nerds that like to hear each other argue about fucking comic books and shit. But if we can help, by all means, help out a fellow nerd. Good karma and whatnot,
I really appreciate that. Yeah. Hopefully, we gotta do the festivals, figure that out, and then we gotta write the show. So probably this summer is when we'll. Hopefully this summer we'll do the Kickstarter. Hopefully we'll shoot end of summer, early fall, which means hopefully the second season will be out, I guess, maybe around this time next year, which is like sucks because like I know I have the story in my head, I know what happens, and I just feel like
it takes a long time.
But I can't.
It takes a long time to produce that stuff.
It took us 2 years from our initial writing of the show to get it to camera, and then 4 months after that to release it. So yeah, we've been sitting on it for a long time, and we're gonna keep going with it. We have at least 5 seasons planned out.
That's crazy.
So yeah, we really believe in this. So hopefully we can.
It's a great concept. I must yield to that fact. It's a great concept for sure.
I've had a lot of great ideas, and then a few months later I'm like, that's not that great. So I mean, anything that you can look at 2 years later and still be as excited about it as the day you first came up with it and still want to go through with it, that's
a winner.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and I love coming up with scenarios to put myself in that I know my mom's gonna hate. That's how I know I'm doing something.
There you go.
So I mean, you've seen a couple of the first episodes of the first season, so you saw the first episode.
I'm gonna definitely watch the rest of it now for sure.
Nailed. My mom's like, "Oh, that's adorable. Okay, your friend's in a bunny suit, and he's just no. That's funny." But the things that happen later on, I don't want to give it away since you guys haven't seen it yet. But there are things later on that happens where mom's like, "Oh, Adam, why? Oh God, why would you?"
See, that looks like something. That's something. Now, right there, the look on your face right there, that fucking hit it with myself and Topher. You just sold us on the rest of season 1. Like that's what's gonna. We'll end up watching it just based on that prediction right there.
Yeah, my mom is very proud of me. She's very supportive.
That's good.
Yes, she questions some of the choices. Like, what? Why did you have to do that? It's like, well, Mom, I helped create the show. Like, it's our show. If I didn't do it, if I didn't set the tone, then no one else would do it. And besides, like, I'm writing it Kevin and I are writing it for me. So, you know what? Fine. It's whatever. Let me get abused by everybody. It's all good. Yeah. So. Yeah, my mom really likes the show, but hates a few parts of it.
I can honestly say I'm really anxious to see the rest now, because I've seen the first, maybe, like 4 episodes through the part where I can't remember if it's you that goes over to the black girl's house makes the cooking references.
Yeah, that's our sex bot Brandon, yeah.
And that was fucking hysterical to me. Like the fact that she was like she wanted to be Emerald and everything, pow, bang,
Bam!
like it was just fucking. I was losing my shit watching it. It was so funny. Moral of the story. Moral of the story is, if you haven't seen it and you haven't paused this podcast, opened a new tab on your thing, and started watching at least the first episode, then you're fucking doing life wrong. Go do that now. Gigahose on YouTube. Check it out. Seriously, it's funny shit. Adam's obviously a nice guy. He's a nerd just like the rest of us, especially if you're watching this, because you've put up with 60 some odd episodes of our bullshit, and we're all definitely nerds. So let's take a minute before we end and talk about let's talk about the TV shows that are out there. We talked briefly. You're up on Shield.
Yes.
What other TV shows are you a fan of?
Well, obviously Flash and Arrow, because they are the best two shows on television.
Which one do you like better?
Oh God! Don't make me.
Oh yeah, that's the question.
That's not cool.
That's the question that like every nerd right now hates to be presented. That's like the Star Trek versus Star Wars question right now.
I mean,
you're not gonna.
Oh God! I'm still gonna be like scared. My gonna blow up because I don't have. I mean, by a tiny percentage, only because
who was it again?
Arrow.
Arrow. Okay.
Because it's it's third season. They're running pretty deep right now, with like just layers upon layers of subtext and characterization and all the. As I say, almost everyone's back. I mean, you guys are up on it, right?
I'll give you mine. We'll get to Chris next.
No, you're not going to believe this, but I'm actually current on them. I caught up.
Fuck you. God damn it. So I am not current. I'm like 4 or 5 episodes into The Flash and like about the same number of episodes into the current season of Arrow. So
okay.
I'm a decent chunk behind, but my personal opinion is I would put The Flash ahead of Arrow based on where it is in like its history as a show. Follow me. I know that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but like where Flash is in its episodes per season, like it's only on season 1 and I'm only like 5 episodes in or whatever, and it's so exciting. Every single episode I'm like, holy fucking shit, I can't believe it. If I compare that to where I was at with season 1 of Arrow at episode 5, which Topher's probably going to make a face because I say the same thing. I felt like the whole goddamn first season of Arrow was a giant Bowflex commercial because all it is 90% of him taking his shirt off and doing pull-ups and sit-ups and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, show that body off, dude.
I mean,
wrong.
It's but I just felt like the show as a whole, Flash took off from about where Arrow was at the beginning of its second season.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of started working from there very rapidly as far as excitement goes. Arrow was okay all through the first season. It was good because we had nothing else.
Yes. But
now we have lots of other options. Gotham, Shield, Arrow. We have lots of stuff out there. Constantine. But I just feel like Flash is progressing at a much faster rate, and it's doing a good job of developing the characters as it goes, but it isn't giving as much backstory lines, as much underlying tones that Arrow is giving with all of the family of Oliver Queen and those storylines. So it's kind of a trade-off, I guess, excitement versus depth of story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the story in Flash is actually getting deeper now. Like it's gotten pretty good because they're really working the whole like.
I mean, go ahead. You can do spoilers. I don't care. I'm admittedly behind. Go ahead.
They brought Firestorm into the mix now,
I heard about that.
And you've got they're really hard on on trying to track down the whole Reverse Flash and the guy in the yellow suit, and like they're really investigating, taking a look at the murder of Barry's mother, and there's this mystic, is Dr. Wells a good guy, a bad guy, like what's going on with him? He keeps ducking into his secret room, and clearly he's got newspapers from the future, so they're really building up that mystery in Flash, and I'm really, everybody I know is keeps saying that they like Flash better. I still like Arrow better. I think it's a better show because I think it has a stronger supporting cast, and I like the grittier tone. Like Marvel's,
for sure.
Marvel's got a lot more lighthearted. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I'll be honest, I hadn't even seen an episode of Arrow until a few months ago. Like I binge watched like the entire thing in the last couple months.
Literally, we had to pester him. We had to pester him into watching it.
Wow, I know, right? And I used to like, I liked Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then I started watching Arrow, and I'm like, oh my god. And then I watched the first episode back of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again. I'm like, yeah, this just isn't as good. Like I still like the show, but it's like Arrow and Flash are on a completely different level. And there's so Marvel stuff, like it has its serious moments, but the overall tone is a lot cheerier, a lot more lighthearted, and Flash does that too. So it's not that it's bad, but Arrow is just so different from that. Like the hero he's almost got a little bit of anti-hero to him. He can be a dick. He can be a bit of a bad guy at times. He's not the moral authority of the story, and I really like that about that show. And I think his supporting cast is a little stronger. Like Diggle and Felicity are just top notch, both of them. Whereas Cisco and Caitlin are, I mean, they're decent. I like them, but I don't feel like their personalities are as strong. They're not. I don't think the characters are as strong.
Part of it is that you have to realize too that they just haven't been around as long. Look at the number of episodes that Cisco has been in versus the number of episodes that Roy Harper's been in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think Arrow's a better show to me personally, but I'm actually more interested in the Flash story right now just because of how much mystery they've shrouded this in. Like I'm waiting for there's going to be this big reveal and it's going to be awesome, and I'm curious to see, once they get that over with and then you start season 2 of Flash, then I think, Arrow is still going to be my number one.
All right, now as a comic book, clearly you are right there with us on comic book nerddom. I'm not going to lie. We can just tell, and that's not a fault. I consider that a compliment.
Thank you.
And I have to ask you this question. Uh-oh. Favorite comic book movie? Worst comic book movie?
Jeez, okay.
That's a tough one, I know.
This is tough. I mean, crap. Best comic book movie is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, good choice. Good
nice.
Choice. Good
Thank
choice.
You. That's my favorite movie. It's just
it is a good movie.
I just read Spider-Gwen #1, and as I was reading it, I was like, holy shit. This is Scott Pilgrim the movie in comic book form. Now I haven't read Scott Pilgrim the books, so maybe I'm wrong. But the way that the Edgar Wright shot the film is the way they're drawing Spider-Gwen. So it's like, oh crap, I love that. I love this. Perfect. Worst movie. Oh jeez, Fantastic Four. Spider-Man 3, the Amazing Spider-Man films. I love Green Lantern, but I can't really defend it anymore.
Hey, no, it's okay. I like the Green Lantern film too.
Thank you.
We are in a minority, and I'm glad to finally have met another person that will defend that film with me. It wasn't great, but it was good. I like that movie.
Yeah, it's not.
I like the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
Yeah, that wasn't bad either.
I didn't mind that one. I liked that movie. I didn't like the Elektra movie. The Elektra was terrible.
Elektra was horrible. That was just wrong. Oh, X-Men 3?
Ooh, you're getting close to Topher's.
Wolverine Origins?
Oh, there's Topher's.
That's mine without a doubt.
It was like, no, because
I've never even seen it.
No movie. It was just like little scenes with different characters.
Oh God!
Is that
in the balloon animal claws? Is it what?
Has that been retconned out now because of?
Oh yeah. Well, the original X-Men trilogy kind of got retconned out, by Days of Future Past. They referenced it, so it was like, they were at least saying that, yeah, this is a different timeline. Wolverine Origins, like, the studio just said, yeah, no, it didn't happen.
Does
not exist. They didn't even say, like, that happened in a story. They're just like, no.
$multi-million mulligan.
At a meta level, we're pretending that film just never existed. I did hear, however, that the Deadpool script that they're working on for Ryan Reynolds movie coming out next February-ish, I think. Yeah.
Oh.
Did you not hear?
You didn't know about this?
The Deadpool movie release date.
Oh, did you? Have you seen the trailer or the pre-shoot footage?
I've watched that. I mean, the CG thing that got.
Yeah.
I watched that many times. Oh, I love it. I was surprised it was live action. I thought it was going to be a CG film.
Yeah. I read an interview with one of the guys who was writing the script, and they asked him about Wolverine Origins, and he said basically, he's like, this Deadpool exists in a world where that movie existed, and he knows about that movie, and he watched that movie, and he thought it sucked.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Awesome.
The fact that they're willing to, like, own up to their mistakes and make fun of it, that to me is worth double bonus points.
There was actually a Scott Pilgrim shout-out in one of the X-Men comics, like about a year and a half ago, in Uncanny X-Men, the Inhumanity crossover issue, I think, somewhere right around there. They had a guy like trying to sneak his way into a S.H.I.E.L.D. office to deliver this letter from Cyclops to like this higher up in like this secret S.H.I.E.L.D. office, and he's kind of like trying to blend his way in, and he has to sign his name on a sign-in sheet, and he signs a fake name, and you can see him writing out Scott Pilgrim, and like
that's awesome.
And it cuts off there, but it was like shut up, I like it.
All right, so we're running out of time, but really quick to recap the places that you can find Adam's stuff. What's your website?
It's adamlashcomedy.com.
Okay, your YouTube channel for Gigahose?
Is youtube.com/Gigahose.
The play that you're in, Bayside, the musical in New York.
Yeah, that's New York.
Okay, look it
New
up.
York, yeah.
And anything that I'm missing? Selflessly pitch yourself. Go for it.
The podcast, everything is on my website. You'll find links to everything I do besides the main things we talked about. I've got sketches. I have a blog that I write to my future son. Actually, you guys would probably really like that. It's kind of along the lines of Gigahose, where I write a bunch of like puberty, relationship, and sex advice to my future son. Because I die like in the near future. I have him then die. So here's all my information that I would never tell you if I was alive. That's very funny. But it's awkward and weird. And I'm writing the sequel right now called Advice I'll Absolutely Never Give My Future Daughter.
I like where that's going.
Yeah, about all the things that a dad should never tell a daughter. So that's funny.
Now, before we go,
yes.
Your partner that was not able to make it tonight. He had one if I could talk, one point that he wanted to touch base on, something that was important to him. If you want to give us some information on, was it FlameCon?
Yes. My roommate and co-creator of Gigahose and friend, his name is Kevin Gilligan. He is a board member of a great organization called Geeks Out, which is a nationwide or a nonprofit organization that is kind of like a safe haven for LGBTQ geeks, nerds to like come and meet their own and have fun together and have really cool events. They're having their first LGBTQ not only but like Comic-Con basically here in New York City.
Is it like for charity or to raise money for the nonprofit? I'm guessing.
A little bit of both.
Okay.
It's just a Comic-Con that's focused on the LGBTQ community, which here in the city, which has never been done before. Never been done before in the city. I don't know if it's never been done before elsewhere. But definitely in New York City, it's the first one they've ever had. It's called FlameCon. It comes out in June. It's one day only event. You can go to flamecon.org for all the information. And Geeks Out is an amazing organization. They're really great. I know they have they try to have a presence at each con that they can get to. Like there's a Boston Comic Con and C2E2 and New York Comic Con. I know they're trying to get to as many different places as possible just to to have a nice safe place to other LGBTQ nerds out there to let them know they're not alone.
Do they have do they have a website?
Yes, I believe that's geeksout.org.
Okay. All right, fantastic. So check both of those websites out and make sure that you can show them some support as well. And we'll definitely have to have you back on, Adam, sometime. I mean, this has been a ton of fun. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
This has been great. Yeah.
I'm going to speak for you, Topher, because your voice doesn't matter. We've had fun. That's all right, Topher. I still love you. In all seriousness, I can tell just by the look on his face, we've had a legitimately good time talking with you, just sharing the fact that
maybe I go join his podcast instead.
There you go. Right? No, seriously, you're into the same geek culture that we're into. We love it. We've had a great time talking to you tonight. I think our listeners are going to really enjoy it. Hopefully some of them, if not all of them, go over and check out your material. That's about it for this week, guys. I'm Fox2. We got Topher.
Tune in next week when I wear this exact same thing.
That's true. And we have guest Adam Lash.
Thanks, everybody.